supported President Gorbachev, who said that they should be concentrating on the problems of the country's economy. In the end, there was no debate on the clause that guarantees power to the Communist Party.
Pressure on Mr. Gorbachev to allow a debate on the Communist Party's monopoly of power has been great. Leading dissident Andrei Sakharov had been pressing for a discussion on the party's role outlined in Article 6 of the Soviet Union's constitution for some time. And as the second day's session opened, he made his point by handing over to Mr. Gorbachev a bundle of telegrams calling for moves to abolish the clause. The Soviet leader, though, was having none of it. Adamantly, he told Mr. Sakharov he too had a bundle of telegrams supporting his point of view. Less than an hour later, it was clear Mr. Gorbachev had won the day and had at least ensured that any debate on the communist monopoly had been kept off the agenda, if not off the minds of many Soviet citizens. It's precisely those people Mr. Gorbachev knows he'll have to win over if he's to press ahead with his policy of perestroika. That's why he says he's put his plans to deal with economic and social problems at the top of the agenda. He wants to introduce moves to do away with shortages and improve low productivity. And he's called for consolidation within the country, urging communists, non-party members and informal opposition groups to help resolve the crisis. Abroad, he has widespread support for his reforms. Now he has to ensure that the same kind of support exists at home. Linda Dubley, Sky News.
Back home, an emergency airlift of influenza vaccine is underway tonight to help ease the epidemic sweeping the country. One of the 3 vaccine manufacturers in this country plans to fly in more than 100,000 doses from Holland and West Germany over the next few days. 1/10 of all health districts is on red alert because of staff shortages in hospitals.
5 people have died and almost 2 million have been affected by the flu epidemic that is raging through Britain. As a result, the country's precious supplies of vaccine are rapidly running out. Medical experts now fear it could be worse than the 1975 outbreak, which killed over 1,200 people. 3 million vaccine doses have been used, and health officials are worried that the remaining 400,000 could soon disappear. That's why government health chiefs have been considering importing an extra 180,000 vaccine injections like these from manufacturers in Holland and France. Dufar is a pharmaceutical distributor whose parent company in Holland is ready to export 80,000 doses to Britain. It now says over 100,000 are being flown into the country in the next few days.
So the phones are red hot, and in fact all our business is turned over to flu vaccine, and everybody's time here is taken up with order taking and distribution of flu vaccines during the last week or so.
Staff in many hospitals across the country have gone down with the virus, which has forced them to restrict admissions and even close wards. Schools and offices have had to shut because of the outbreak, and the National Blood Bank is also being put under strain because of the great numbers of people not able to give blood because of the flu. At this donation session, run by the National Blood Transfusion Service in Kingston in Surrey, beds and seats that are normally full lie empty. And once overworked nurses sit by beds with nothing to do.
We are taking 2/3 of the amount of blood than we normally take. So our blood bank is very pushed. We are being issued with blood from other regions that so far have some spare. That can't go on forever.
Although there are enough supplies of flu vaccine for the time being, medical experts say they cannot last, and doctors and pharmacists around Britain are waiting for the Department of Health to agree to the import of the extra vaccine to help curb the rampaging virus. Sean Brickell, Sky News.
Employers in the ambulance dispute have said that there'll be no more money on the table when they meet unions on Thursday. Chief negotiator David Rennie insists that the meeting is to discuss details of an 18-month deal worth 9%, which has already been rejected by the 5 unions. The union's chief negotiator, Roger Poole, says the unions will turn up, but they're in no mood to take the cash on offer.
12 people have been arrested after police raided 10 homes in London following a 3-week undercover drugs operation. The dozen will appear before Marylebone magistrates tomorrow morning in connection with charges of supplying the cocaine-based drug crack. Investigations began after families in the West London area contacted police, claiming there had been an increase in drug dealing.
Sky World News tonight. Coming up after the break, 1 year on and the Clapham train disaster victims are remembered. And police power in East Germany, they want to form a union.
Introducing Sky News. It's news whenever you need it, 24 hours a day. Featuring a new breed of television journalist, backed up by the world's largest news organizations and Europe's most advanced news-gathering technology. Plus world-class sport, up-to-the-minute weather forecasts, and the latest from the world of finance. Now there's no need to wait for news. Sky News. We're there when you need us, 24 hours a day.
Eye of newt and toe of frog. Wing of bat and tongue of dog. And 3 spoons of sweetener. That'll taste disgusting.
Some sweeteners won't cook at high temperatures, but Sweetex uses NatriBlend, so all your cooking tastes wonderful.
Still needs a little something.
Sweetex. Now you can have your cake and eat it.
Keep on running.
We put the Zap back into computers. Sinclair's Action Pack with light gun.
Smoke detectors to protect you and yours. Helmets to keep your head together. Trimmers which cut only hedges. Whichever way you look at it, your safety at heart. British Standards Institution.
Thursday in Wise Guy, Vinny is caught in a web of betrayal.
Having fun, kids?
And Mel wants revenge.
Everything here is here because it pleases me. And it's here for as long as it pleases me. And when it stops pleasing me, I'll get rid of it.
Vinny's loyalty is put to the test.
Push her off the boat.
Oh. In a life and death situation.
You don't think I'll kill you, do you?
Wise Guy, Thursday at 9 on Sky One.
A court in New York has sentenced the billionairess Leona Helmsley to 4 years in prison for tax fraud. She cheated the American government out of more than $1 million in tax. She was also ordered to pay a fine totaling $7.1 million. She was convicted last August of claiming as business expenses everything from underwear to $1 million dance floor.
Leona Helmsley left the New York court with her husband Harry leaning on her arm. The judge dismissed her sobbing plea against a prison sentence so that she could stay with him. Instead, the judge said her actions had been the result of naked greed. As well as the $7 million fine, Helmsley has to repay the taxes with interest and do community service in New York's Black District of Harlem. At her trial, which ended on the 30th of August, the court was told that Leona Helmsley once said, "Only the little people pay taxes." The phrase has come back to haunt her. The court was told that she tried to write off millions as business expenses, which she'd spent on renovating and furnishing her $8 million Connecticut mansion. Despite the fines, the Helmsleys remain one of the richest couples in the world. Their $5 billion property empire includes 27 hotels and the Empire State Building itself. But ordinary New Yorkers love to hate her.
She's too big for her britches.
They just don't see the need for all the greed.
She has a reputation that is a woman who really has no scruples as far as I'm concerned.
Hang her, man. Hang her. That's what I think, man. She got money.
And outspoken Spy magazine named her as one of the most annoying, alarming and appalling people of 1988. As the former Queen of Manhattan, her fall from grace is now complete. She could be released for parole after she's served a third of her 4-year sentence. Adam Harding, Sky News.
Well, while United States Secretary of State James Baker was midway through his historic visit to East Germany, the very men who would have arrested strikers 3 months ago were striking themselves in East Berlin. The city's dreaded police force decided that they needed democratic rights as well. 1,500 uniformed East German police demonstrated outside the Interior Ministry building this evening, demanding the right to join a trade union. They were joined by hundreds of non-police supporters.
Home again, and more than 100 commuters have been evacuated from a train on the same line where the Clapham disaster happened 1 year ago today. A fire broke out in the locomotive section of the 12:15 Waterloo to Salisbury train. No one was hurt. Today at Clapham, mourners gathered in the rain to pay their respects to the victims of the Clapham disaster. 1 year ago, 35 people died and more than 100 were injured when two commuter trains collided near the station.
Clapham 1 year on, and they've been remembering that terrible morning when 35 people died and the lives of many more were wrecked forever. One of the first to lay wreaths at the trackside memorial was the general manager of Southern Region, Gordon Pettit. At 8:13, exactly the time when a commuter train from Poole ploughed into the back of another from Basingstoke, religious leaders gathered for a brief ceremony and a minute's silence for those who perished.
I think the best comfort is to stay silent and be there. Words are superfluous.